Well, pre-approval is very important point for the clients when they're purchasing a home, because that gives them a clear idea about what they can afford, what the expectations of the lenders, and what they can shop for. As a buyer, you should be looking at the following expenses. Down payment is minimum 5%. Of course, you can put more than that. That's the biggest expense for the closing costs. And legal fees, of course, normally on average is about $1,500, give and take. It depends on which lawyer you're using. And then you have to look at deposits for hydro and utilities if it applies, and PST on the premium if it applies as well. Mortgage life insurance, in my opinion, is very, very important factors. Over 50% of the foreclosures in the marketplace for first-time home buyers is because one of the two applicants didn't take home protector insurance. That serves for you if you lose your job for medical reasons, or you stop working for medical reasons more than 4 weeks, the insurance kicks in and start paying your mortgage, which is take big load off your back.
Your buyer's representative should be going over the whole offer from top to bottom. That will include not just the price, but the closing date, the terms, the conditions, if you need financing, if you have a home inspection that you'd like to do, which your buyer agency should be suggesting that you have a home inspection on every property. A lot of times parents and relatives, friends, they want to give you advice, but honestly, the best information you're going to get is from the professional that you're dealing with. As a first-time home buyer, you have to decide what your needs and your wants are. Your wants will be very different from your needs based on the price of property that you're going to be able to purchase. And I always ask my clients, what is most important, your environment or your dwelling? You can never change your environment, but you can always change your dwelling.
The best reason to get a home inspection is to find out the overall condition of the home before it's purchased. So a home inspection is a non-invasive inspection. I look at everything from the foundation up to the attic. I think the best reason for a home inspection to be done, to give the potential buyer a peace of mind of what's inside the home and possibly any of those big ticket items that will cost them money down the road if we don't acknowledge them at the inspection before purchase. The home inspection on a single family home runs about $350 to $400. So having a home inspection as a first-time home buyer is a smart thing, because it's going to allow them to know these issues inside the house that are present at the inspection, and they can be taken care of before they purchase the home.
Why would you need a lawyer for your purchase or your sale or your real estate transaction? The easy answer there is that it's required. You do have to have one in Ontario. You can't buy or sell a property or transfer a title or register a mortgage without a lawyer. And it's one of those things where even though it's required, if it wasn't, you would want one anyway. And the reason you would want one is, and I always tell people this, unless you're going to buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini one day, the home is probably the most expensive item you're going to buy. You want to make sure that A, your name goes on it correctly, your birthday goes on it correctly, the mortgage that you agreed to with the bank is actually what gets registered and what you sign at the lawyer's office. You want to understand the documents that you're signing. And most importantly, that the title is clear. You need the lawyer to search the title to make sure that the seller doesn't owe taxes or utilities, what mortgage liens, what construction liens, so that you get a nice clean title and you can sleep well at night knowing that you're not going to get surprised by a letter in the mail or an issue related to something the seller owed on this home that's not your home. The cost of a lawyer on the purchase of a home and even on the sale of a home, there's a range. You should budget between $1,400 and $1,600 on a single family residential purchase with a single mortgage. That includes acting for the bank on registering the mortgage. And on a sale as you would expect is cheaper than a purchase. There's no out-of-pocket title searches. You don't have to get title insurance. The seller doesn't pay the provincial registration costs. So on a sale, you could budget between $800 and $1,000. The best advice for a first-time home buyer would be, one is budgeting. We touched on it a little bit. Make sure you're budgeting correctly, whether it's a purchase or a sale, whether you're getting a single mortgage or two mortgages. And other than what you're going to pay the lawyer for the legal fee, the searches, the disbursements, and the HST, make sure to budget land transfer tax, if it's applicable, depending on whether you're a first-time home buyer or not and how expensive the house is. And the other thing that sometimes catches people off when they're doing their budgeting, especially first-time home buyers, is they are forgetting to calculate that you do on the day of closing have to pay the PST on the CMHC or Genworth fee at the bank. So that's if you haven't put 20% down. You do need to budget 8% of the CMHC fee to be paid out of your pocket on closing, because banks cannot lend that to you in the same way they would roll the CMHC fee into your mortgage.
You're buying your first home, why do you need house insurance? First of all, if something happens to your house, that's probably the biggest catastrophe in your life as far as not being able to live in your house, right? So really you need home insurance because it's one of your biggest assets to cover. So one of the biggest things I hear about daily now is what's covered under flood coverage. Kind of three main categories of flood coverage. You have your sewer backup coverage, you have overland water coverage, which is your heavy rainfall causing water to kind of sit on the surface outside. And then you have typical flood coverage, which quite literally by definition means tidal waters have touched the side of your house. So the big thing is just understand if you have full-on flood coverage, just sewer backup, surface water, and which of those do you need. So when you're meeting with your real estate agent, if you're wondering kind of what the big red flags are to look for your insurance company, is ask your real estate agent what the plumbing is made of, what the electrical is made of. And these are conversations where, as you're purchasing that house, before you kind of pull the trigger, be back and forth with your insurance provider as well, because they may have further questions that the real estate agent would be able to help you out answer a little bit easier as well. Dealing closely with your insurance provider and your real estate agent is going to make sure that there's not a single kink in the process of finding your dream home.